So thank you, Brendan and Rune, for putting on another one of these, and thanks everyone for being here. Excited to help kick off today's symposium on the topic of authenticity. As Brendan mentioned, I'm a current graduate of the Master's Program in Communication Design with a focus on digital product design here at Parsons. I'm sure the other speakers will dive deep into the topic of authenticity as it relates to their work, practice, and process. But I'm going to share just a quick few projects that I worked on this past year, digital projects that came to mind when I thought of the topic of authenticity. So consider the next few minutes a sort of amuse-bouche for the rest of the afternoon. So we worked on a multitude of projects during the master's here at Parsons, particularly as it relates to the digital design world. And when I thought of what projects I could present related to this symposium, I started to question what parts of my work were authentic and what made it truly me or really honest and real. I think we can all agree that it's hard to be authentic in today's world. And in my mind, authenticity is the difference between how we portray ourselves to the outside world, oftentimes online, and who we actually are on the inside. And so in this first project, instead of trying to sort of tell the world who I was through a specific piece of art or design, I decided to leave that up to the people who know me best, my friends, family, and anyone with an internet connection. So as sort of a fun interim personal site this past spring, I rebuilt and created a reviews page for myself so that friends, family, or anyone could write a review of me and share it to the site. So as you'll see, it takes some nods from some other well-known review sites out there, but I'll also preface this project that I have quite rudimentary development skills, but I think overall you get the idea. People often expect to get to know you through your work and your portfolio, but what's a better way for them to get to know me than to have firsthand authentic reviews and accounts of who I am written by others. I thought this would be a really fun exercise for others to get a glimpse into who I am, but also an interesting case of surprising feedback for myself. Friends had some fun with this and took some creative liberties, I'd say, with the stories and the reviews. So maybe this defeats the actual purpose of authenticity, though I'd argue it presents me maybe in a more interesting light than a more common portfolio site would. So just to show some of the reviews a little up close, some took it quite amusingly and jokingly. Others perhaps a bit more honest and true to their feelings and star ratings. And then this one from one of my brothers, but not to worry on any low star recommendations because every review always rounds up to 5 stars. Very authentic indeed. And it's funny that as I revisited this site the other week, I thought about trying to make it official and create like a real Yelp page for myself. So I tried to sign up for a business account. And as you can see from this photo, I've yet to be approved, although I've been waiting for the past few weeks. But maybe one day I will, and we can all start creating Yelp pages of ourselves to keep each other honest. Switching gears a little bit, in another project from this past spring, we were challenged with developing and building a custom CSS typeface native to digital channels. And when brainstorming ideas for this project, my mind initially drifted to the more usual ideas of creating letter forms using HTML, CSS. But then I thought about the ways in which we actually communicate nowadays, which more times than not is through visual language, like emojis, GIFs, memes, images. So instead of building a traditional typeface with letters, I aimed to build a typeface that was perhaps a bit more relevant and accurate to the way we actually communicate, particularly across digital channels, which led me to the celebrity typeface. So instead of communicating with letters, one can use celebrities' faces as mnemonic devices to spell out words and phrases. And the idea was that as we communicate visually already, this sort of typeface wouldn't be a large leap for someone to understand and utilize. With the hope of making this a bit more engaging, and specifically the site a bit more engaging, I built a rudimentary game that visitors to the site could play to see how well they actually understand the typeface, which tests not only their knowledge of celebrities' faces, but perhaps more modern day texting lingo and the ways in which we can associate words with visuals. So going through the game, users have the option to choose certain message responses through a mimicked phone thread, where if they select the correct answer, the responder, the computer, replies using the celebrity typeface. It's kind of walking through one or two examples here. So if anyone can guess what they think the reply is from the celebrity's face. I don't mean to shout it out, but I'll have it on the next slide too. The user also has the option to go backwards and choose additional messages or additional threads. So the ultimate idea would be that you have certain levels of understanding these different ways of communicating with celebrities' faces specifically. And if a user was wrong, they would have, get 1x, I think, as you saw up here. So kind of 3 strikes you're out type deal. And in case you couldn't see through demo, this is just a close-up version of one of the text threads. Yeah, it's worth noting that the game was fairly simple, but some fun ideas to continue to build it out over the next month and show how far we can really talk with celebrities' faces. Does anyone know these? So it's a mnemonic, so it's kind of like how they sound, how a celebrity would sound. I think I'll have to build tooltips into this somehow as well. It's Eminem. It's a little small too. And then Hugh Grant. So it's like NMNU. The mnemonic. And then this is level 1. This is the level 1 of the game. But anyways, it's fun. And so the final project I'll walk through today is a physical artifact. In this case, a magazine that was produced for a future publishing course. And if you imagine a world in perhaps not so distant future where the internet's been completely destroyed and obsolesced and all of your files, emails, websites, etc. are gone and can't be restored, what would you choose to save? What would you want to commemorate and make and create into a physical artifact of some kind, assuming you have the time and wherewithal for this occurrence? And for this project, I chose to save online Yelp reviews. So apparently I have an affinity with online reviews in general, it seems. But to me, Yelp reviews are interesting because people are their most authentic selves on Yelp. They're guarded by their online identity, hiding behind a profile, a photo, and a first name plus last initial. They can say whatever they like, express their real emotions, and that's what makes Yelp reviews so interesting and oftentimes hilarious. So for my physical artifact, I wanted to source Yelp reviews, specifically 1-star Yelp reviews, and present them in a magazine format. So I curated and selected 1-star Yelp reviews from all over Brooklyn of the top 5 search terms related to the area on Yelp. And so as Yelp reviews are technically critiques, lowbrow critiques at that, I wanted them to be critiquing something other than the restaurants they were meant for. So I chose to juxtapose the reviews against real pieces of art. So this resulted in the first Taste of Brooklyn Spring Edition, where you can read relevant reviews to certain works of art, but the reviews are actual just Yelp reviews. I chose some of the most authentic, honest reviews and placed them next to art relating to the keywords in the reviews, making this book somewhat of an art critique by using Yelp. I have to say, after spending hours and hours on Yelp, it's kind of incredible the type of content that can be found on there and the amount of effort, emotion, honesty that goes into these reviews. And so just showing sort of some fun quotes from certain Yelp reviews and as they relate to their pieces of art. So all in all, I think a quite fun and entertaining book resulted that showed the true, authentic tastes of Brooklyn. And so that's all. I think it's as hard as it is to present ourselves authentically in today's world. I hope at least the past few minutes maybe gave a small glimpse into who I am. But thank you guys and enjoy the rest of the afternoon.